Before I go into today's episode, I would like to gratefully acknowledge something. I realized today that this is only my fourth episode. I literally started this channel with these videos, and I started on the 8th of September, and every Sunday I've been doing it. So this is the fourth Sunday, and today I realized when I checked that I have reached 1000 subscribers. I don't know what to say. This is such an immense encouragement, and probably without this sort of response, I would also have lost interest in doing these videos. So thank you very much. It's very encouraging, and it makes me want to really want to get into this subject and make some more videos. So Nandri, Dhanyavad, Dhanyavadalu, Dhanyavadalu. Thank you. And these four South Indian languages and Hindi, I know them, so this is not memorized recitation. So thank you all once again. And with that, let's delve into this fourth episode of Before I go into this episode, I wish to humbly and gratefully, I'm sorry, in the beginning, I forgot to wear my mic. I hope it's working now. If you hear the audio, can somebody give a thumbs up, please? I hope you can listen to me. So I would like to gratefully and humbly acknowledge that when I started this series of discussions, I started them on the 8th of September. So this is just the fourth episode. Not even a month has gone by. And I have reached 1000 subscribers. I realized this evening when I checked this channel, and I'm so grateful and immensely encouraged by this. Without this sort of encouragement, I don't think I would have had the interest in continuing these videos. So thank you all so much, and I will continue to make these videos. Even if there is a small takeaway from these, that's enough for me, that's enough gratification. So Nandri, Dhanyavad, Nanni, Dhanyavadalu, Dhanyavadalu, thank you. And I know the four South Indian languages quite well, and I know Hindi quite well. So that comes from the heart, and it's not pre-scripted. And with that, welcome to the fourth episode of adapting and applying some of the sutras from Patanjali's Yoga Sutras to our daily life, managing stresses and anxieties of our daily life. I stress this is adapting and applying. And I'll have some of my more own interpretations of some of the definitions, some of the terms in the sutras. The link to the playlist that contains the previous episodes is there in the description. For those who are new to this channel and watching this episode, please go and check the playlist and watch the previous episodes. They will serve to Only then they'll serve to help you understand further episodes, this episode and other episodes. For my viewers who are returning, please, you can always use them for revision. If you have gained some knowledge from these videos and this episode, please do subscribe to my channel, like the video, share it, share the other videos, press the bell icon. I want to spread the word. I want people to know the immense amount of wisdom that is there in not only the Yoga Sutras, the other scriptures of Bharadakande, Bharatavarshi that are say, millenniums old. Namaste, Namaskaram, greetings. My name is Ramakrishnan. I'm from Chennai, India. I don't prepare specifically for these discussions. I just contemplate and I go through in my mind and I put it in order how I'm going to address the subjects of the day. And while I was doing this today, this entirely aside, this has nothing to do with the practices, but I think it is something interesting. I realized that Patanjali has used Patanjali's methodology is matches some of the modern methods we use in quality control, in process management, in the aviation industry. People who are in these domains will know what I'm talking about when I say root cause analysis, plan, do, check, act, the 5 whys, 6 Sigma, define, measure, analyze, improve, control, the PIOC of aviation, which is identify the problem, get information, what are your options, select options, execute the options, evaluate, go through the whole cycle. And this is what Patanjali does. He's describing the problem first, and then he looks at what we can do to address those problems, and then we analyze again. It's a complete feedback loop. I was this was a sudden flash of understanding that I gained today. But it does not matter. I mean, I found it interesting. It does not matter to the learnings that you will take away from these discussions. As usual, I'll begin by invoking the second sutra from the first book. The Yoga Sutras are in 4 books called Padas. The second sutra from Samadhipada. It defines and also says what's the objective of yoga. So even though we are not going to do the whole thing, I will say this because it is an extraordinary statement within just 4 words. Both defines what is yoga and says what its objective is. The sutra is Yogas Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Yoga, Chitta is the mind stuff, Vritti is modifications, Nirodha is restraint. Yoga is the restraint of the modification of the mind stuff. Very beautifully written by Patanjali. In the last 3 episodes, we discussed Chitta quite in detail, and Vritti we had in the previous episode just listed out the Vrittis. For Chitta, we had described it in an analogy, saying it consists of a controller, a processor, data warehouse, where there's a lot of information stored, and then the sense of I, the doer, and these are the components of the Chitta. For a detailed explanation, please refer to episode 3. We had also listed the Vrittis and said that the Vrittis are of 5 types and they have 2 attributes. But we had stopped at that, only listing the 2 attributes and the 5 Vrittis. Today, let's delve a little bit into what these Vrittis are, and we will see if we can define the first Vritti. Now, I have stated earlier also that I will be using some interpretations of my own meanings I will take the liberty of interpreting some terms in a different way rather than the pure school of thought, the orthodox school of thought, that study the whole system of Patanjali Yoga and aimed at liberation of the self. And that's a completely different school. And I can no way claim any sort of knowledge of that. And we have a very limited scope here. And for meeting the objectives of that scope, I do need to change certain terms, the definitions, and use it in a slightly different manner. I want to say that I am not at all contradicting what the very learned scholars and gurus and teachers teach. This is a entirely different objective that I have. So I want to make this very clear. So with that, let us get into the Vrittis. As I said, the Vrittis are 5 and they are of 2 types or attributes. We will first discuss and see what these attributes are. These attributes are called klishta and aklishta. This klishta and aklishta have been given different meanings, used differently, slightly differently, given the several schools of thoughts of yoga. And they have been used as useful, not useful, painful, not painful, bad, good, negative, positive, in that sort of usage. For our purposes, I'm going to use two terms that are also used quite frequently as colored and uncolored. This helps us in understanding for our purposes. So these modifications are of two types, colored and uncolored. Colored is klishta. I'm defining it, okay? In the regular school of thought, the higher learnings, it's used in a different meaning. But for our purposes, saying that klishta is colored helps us in understanding better. So what do we mean by a colored modification? A modification, if you see behind me, I put that background on purpose. You can see the ripples in a very placid lake and some light shining on it. So the vrittis are like these ripples in a placid lake. So our sensory inputs, our thoughts, our impressions, previous experiences, latent tendencies, they all tend to cause these ripples, like a pebble thrown into the lake, and disturb the mind and spread out in waves and ripples. So what are colored modifications? It does not necessarily mean bad, impure, incorrect, wrong. No. Any kind of modification, as soon as we attach an adjective to it, it becomes colored. Good, bad, no, doesn't matter. Tasty, not tasty, bad smell, fragrance, everything is a modification and it's colored. The sensory inputs, as soon as we have that adjective applied to it, it becomes a colored modification. This has to be very clear because all our further practices are going to be based on this understanding of the modifications. Now, having said that, a modification is colored and the adjectives don't matter, they are colored. I now come to a subset of these, and now I say we are going to discuss mainly the bad, negative modifications. These are going to be the target. Colored modifications, they can be anything as long as an adjective is applied to them, they are colored. We are now going to address some of the colored modifications that are negative in nature. This has to be absolutely clear, only then we can progress further, because these are the modifications to which we will apply some of the practices. If you think about it, for most of the time, I have said this before also, it's non-stop. We get sensory inputs all the time. It's sight and sound and smell, sometimes taste, not all the time. Maybe we taste your saliva later, sensations on the skin I feel when I touch. So it's the immense amount of information that is coming in sensory perceptions. And I have realized that all these sensory perceptions that are coming into me become colored. I attach objectives to them. I do it. And if you think about it, probably you're also probably doing the same thing. Anything comes in with a feeling attached to it. These are all colored. But that's it. We are humans. All these will be colored. Please reflect on this, because as I said, this is where we have to, we don't claim the same, we have not renounced the world, we are not seeking liberation. All I'm doing, and this is what I'm seeking, and that is why I'm doing these talks. I'm sharing what I'm doing with you, that's all. Some lesser worries, lesser anxiety in life. So our target is these colored modification. I will not be talking about uncolored modifications. It's not important to us, but in the larger context, for practitioners, for those who are seeking liberation, it is of immense importance. But I hope this is clearly understood. If you have questions, please ask them in the comment section. So, again, we are limiting ourselves to applying certain practices that will follow to the modifications that are colored and negative. I will give some examples of negative modifications. When we attach those thoughts, when they come in through our five senses and they cause negative reactions, negative modifications in the mind stuff, envy, jealousy, avarice, greed, lust. When we see my neighbor driving a brand new Mercedes Benz, do I have that? At least just one sharp feel, oh my God. Yeah, jealousy, envy. I freely admit it, the thought does come. Even when a friend does something better, he achieves something, the first thought is, oh my, how lucky he is. This happens, and this is normal human behavior. So these are the kind of modifications that we are talking about. Gluttony. I cannot, if I start eating chocolate, if I just take a piece of it and put it into my mouth, I just cannot stop. My mind wants more and more. Gluttony, greed. So these are the modifications that we will be addressing. Now that we have spoken about the modifications, let me see how much time we have left. I think I overshot my time, but I hope this is clear to you that our topic, the subject to which we are going to apply these practices, are the colored negative modifications. I hope this is clear. I will end this video today. I'm sorry for the beginning, the mistake that I made in not attaching the mic. Please do review the definition of chitta and think about this vrittis, and these two will come together, because the vrittis go and affect the create mind stuff, and this whole information processing that I discussed is part of it. We will put all this together in the next episode. Apart from klishtas, there are other negative things that are called kleshas. The normal school says that the kleshas are also part of the klishtas. I'm going to use them differently. I'm separating klishta and kleshas. So the next episode, we will discuss the five vrittis at length, and then I'll also say what are the kleshas, and then after that we will go into the practices to help us in avoiding these and stopping ourselves from reacting in anger or resentment or envy or jealousy. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Namaskaram. Namaste. Greetings.